What's up, traders? Welcome back to another video. We get the comment all the time. People say, Nick, how do I grow a small account? I want to grow a small account. I don't have a bunch of money and I want to make it into more money. So in this video, we did something a little bit out of the ordinary and we did an experiment of our own. I took a small account. I think I deposited just around $900 into a trading account. And we're going to be trying to, in this video, grow that account as aggressively as possible within reason. You guys know me. I'm not a big interest in playing the high risk game or being crazy. But for those of us who do have smaller accounts, what is in the realm of possibility? So I did it myself. I went into experimenting mode, if you will, and I basically funded a small account, and we're going to see how it went in the last 1 month or so of my trading, trading all different sorts of markets, predominantly Forex. So let's go ahead and get into it right now. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first few trades actually were really good. The first trade that I took was, actually the first 3 trades that I took were all shorts on the US 30.
What did you say?
We're all shorts on the US 30.
No! You already know that that is a dangerous game to play, but I did it anyways because I saw a setup that I really liked and ended up taking a trade there, the first one being a profit of $39. Now, I have to be honest with this, when I took this trade, I was not aware of how volatile US 30 was. Truth be told, I've never actually even traded it until now. Now, I've watched indices for a long time and I've done stuff in the stock market, but in the Forex market, I've never traded US 30. And so I actually took 3 trades on this one, all at the same time on a $900 account.
Oh, hell no!
Not recommended, but it worked out in my favor because I did like the setup and ended up taking 2 more profits. So I took a $39.13 profit, I took a $42.13 profit, and I took a $41.63 profit because once I realized how volatile this market was, I wanted to reevaluate things. So I closed the trades out for a profit. Although it does seem like a very large profit, it was actually a small movement on the market, just a short 15-minute chart move that worked out in my favor. So it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Next, I took a trade on Bitcoin, and this one did not do so well. So I ended up taking a trade here on Bitcoin. Price broke out of something that I was looking for. It broke out to the upside. I took a buy, and it did not go so well. I lost $9.95 on this particular trade. The next one was an Aussie New Zealand short. So I took a trade here. This one did also not do very well. I ended up losing about $3.04. Not the end of the world. Definitely not as significant as that Bitcoin trade. This market is very low volatile from, you know, I've been trading this particular pair for a while, and I just happen to know that it's a very low volatility based market just historically. So the trade here was a very small loss of about $3. Next up was New Zealand dollar, and this one I think was my favorite win of all. I gained a total of 51 cents on this trade alone. So next up, I ended up taking a short on Cad Yen. Things did not go super well on this one. I ended up stopping out there for about $3.16 lost on the account. So Aussie Canadian was the next one that I took, and this is actually the first one that I shared with the community that I run, because once I started getting comfortable with the platform, I figured I would start sharing the trades, because these were trades that I genuinely thought had a lot of potential, and in a lot of cases they did. But the overall idea here was the first time I shared the trades with members inside of our trading community. By the way, there's a link down below in the description if you're interested in seeing all of my trades in real time, the reasoning why, the entries, all that good stuff. So we'll take a look at that now. So what I liked about this particular trade is that what you can see from the image here is that price was channeling to the upside and overall had a nice little uptrend going for it. And I liked the idea of watching for a significant break above this key level in pink at this resistance point. So as price started to break out, I basically bought into the move, looking for the break to continue, and ended up not working out so well, and it did come back to my stop, resulting in a loss of about $3.26. The next trade I took was a long position on Euro JPY. This is EUR JPY. I ended up taking a long position here, basically looking for this wedge to break out. We had a triangle in the market, and as price broke above the significant top, I ended up taking a long position. In this case, things did not work out as well as I'd hoped for, but we did end up with a fantastic profit of about 12 cents. 12 cents, bro.
Look what I found in my pocket!
The next trade that I shared was Euro GBP, and this one did not do well in the end, losing us about $5.26. But I did like the principle behind this one. We were looking for a trend continuation breakout, and we did get an initial spike. Things went in our favor for a little while, but ultimately came back and tagged us for a loss, hitting our initial stop loss for only a $5 loss. Now, I know that some of these profits and losses are not very big, and it's because I'm trying to stay within a healthy range of risk on each particular trade. So if I took a $5 loss, you have to remember, if we're talking about a $900 to $1,000 account at this point, that's talking about a, what is that, a 0.5% loss. So a very small risk on this particular one. For potential higher rewards, you'll see some of the better trades coming here in just a minute. The next trade that I took was a long position on, a sell position on USD CAD that resulted in about a break-even trade of 0.38 cents. So a lot of these really small profits, by the way, they're not me just taking profits just because it goes in the blue. What it usually ends up being is price goes in my favor, but then it kind of comes back and hits my break even because I'll trail my stop as things are going along with this particular strategy, just looking to lock in gains, and a lot of times that results in just hitting break even trades. So although 12 cents and 38 cents are not big, it's more just me protecting the trade from going negative or becoming a worse position. And a lot of times the cool thing is that this helps to reduce the chance of a trade becoming a full-blown stop out, losing me 5, 15, whatever dollars on that particular position by just allowing me to move stops to break even when it goes in my favor and just closing out the trade if it goes back to my initial entry. So the next trade worked out really, really well. And so what you'll find is that most of the profits on this small account have been grown by very few numbers of trades. So by the basis of this strategy, what ends up happening is that a lot of my trades either close for break even, a lot of my trades close for a loss, and a couple of my trades, a fewer number of my trades, result in really nice wins. This next one is Swiss yen, and I ended up taking a long position here after price broke above a key level of resistance. I ended up buying into the retest in the context of an overall strong uptrend on the 4-hour and 1-hour chart. So I took that trade and things worked out in my favor really nicely, and it continued to run and run and run. I actually have a full video on this one out on the YouTube channel right now that you can go check out if you're interested in a part-by-part trade, a breakdown of Swiss yen. So I ended up taking this position. Price kept going in my favor. I kept trailing my stop and ended up taking a nice profit here of $21.41. This next trade is a very short-term trade that I took a short sell on SPX 500. So I ended up taking a short trade on this trendline break that I sent out to members. Basically, the idea was as we were breaking underneath a key level there, I wanted to get short to see if we had momentum for the rest of the day back the other direction. We did, and I ended up taking a small profit to close out before the end of the day to avoid extra commissions or swaps, if you want to call it that, extra expenses. So I ended up just closing that one out for a profit of $4.51. Now the next one is our big winner. This is the best trade that I've taken in the last month on this higher risk account. I ended up risking about 2.5% on this trade. So full transparency, I took a larger stop loss, or at least a larger distance stop loss on this trade. This trade being gold, which I shared with members, and it resulted in a fantastic profit of $99.70. And there's a full trade breakdown video on this one as well. Basically what ended up happening is price was in a strong uptrend, but then as it started to slow in momentum, we saw a head and shoulders pattern, we saw a couple different technical factors, and I thought that there was a pretty good chance that gold was ready for a little deeper of a pullback. We got a lot more than I had expected for. I trailed my stop in and ended up closing a profit there again of $99.70. The big winner on the account for sure during this time frame.
Nice.
Because it was able to net the account, what is that, almost 8 to 9% by itself off of our initial investment. So again, I risked 2.5%, which I think the risk was like $25, to make almost $100 on one trade on this small account, which is extremely, extremely account changing because again, we risked relatively small to make a high potential profit off of one really good move based on our technical analysis. So overall, we had an initial profit on this account of $223.25. And that's a little different than 800. But our initial deposit was $894.54. Well, you might say, Nick, that's not that much growth. You went from $894 to $1,117. That's not a massive, massive growth. But remember, when we're talking about trading and investing, a lot of times you get these people out there who will show you taking a $1,000 account and trying to make it into $1 million or something crazy like that. And to me, I think that this experiment was a good testament, or at least a good experiment to do for people who are interested in growing small accounts without taking massive, stupid amounts of risk. Because if you're going for a $100,000 account off of a $1,000 initial investment, chances are you're going to be taking risk that is very likely to blow your account somewhere along the line, and you will almost certainly lose that initial $1,000 if you're trying to do it in a short period of time. Now granted, this experiment was fun because it's something that was a little bit higher risk. It was something that I was comfortable taking higher risk on, but if you were to consistently do something like this, over time, your account could build into a much larger size. Now granted, you are still going to be taking higher risk to do this. And for me personally, as my accounts get bigger, what I usually do is I lower and lower and lower the amount of risk that I take on my positions, purely because if you're talking about a $100,000 account, that's a much different level of amount of money that you're risking than a $1,000 account. Now, obviously, we all don't want to lose our money. That's never something that we want to do. But when we're talking about lower amounts of capital, I think that it's within reason to talk about a little bit more aggressive strategies that have still some respect to risk management, but are also looking to grow as much as we can within reason again. I want to make this video because I've seen a lot of different videos out there doing stuff like this, but I want to show and share my own personal experiment that I've done within as much reason as possible to grow an account at a little even more aggressive rate without taking massive risk and without being very stupid with your money. Again, this is YouTube, and I know that the really exciting stuff is watching 1,000 to 1,000,000. That's really cool and stuff, but to me, for the people out there, for the vast majority of people who are not going to have an incredibly lucky streak and go from nothing to a zillion dollars, this is a more practical approach in my view, and it is the way to grow accounts if you have smaller amounts of capital. So thank you so much for watching. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed this video, share it with a friend. Maybe give this video a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more of this stuff in the future, then make sure to subscribe. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back in the next video.